Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7 to try and help you earn them 2 million credits as quickly and as easily as possible. So for this week we are at Laguna Seca and we are in the Scirocco Group 4 on racing hard tyres, obviously default setups, no brake bias allowed, and yeah, hopefully we can get you this gold as quickly as possible. So if you do enjoy these videos, do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, it all helps me out doing this. We do this full time as a job, so really big help to the channel. But yeah, for this time trial I actually ran weak ABS. Now I didn't even bother trying default because weak just felt really strong in this car, so definitely give it a go. I only did 22 miles as you can see from my daily workout there, didn't spend long on this at all. So to enter this, you're going to go into sport mode and then into the online time trial section. We have two separate time trials available. We've got guides for both of them on the channel, so go and check them out if you're looking for the other one. But today we're at Laguna Seca and you can see my predicted gold is going to be about 1 minute 29.7 because I think this gold time can really improve from the current top time of 1:27.6, because like I say, I only did 22 miles on this time trial and got a 27.8 pretty quickly, as you can see there, into P2 in the world. So yeah, I don't think this has been pushed properly yet. I expect this to maybe creep into a 26.9, something like that. But you can actually challenge my Ghost and chase it to help you out on the time trial leaderboard there. So yeah, load that up after watching this and hopefully it'll help you get that gold. So let's get into this. Try and make sure you get a good exit off this final corner to help your progress all the way down into turn 1. You're going to rev this Scirocco out, so make sure you're revving it out quite aggressively. And then for the first braking zone, we're going to be braking just before the number 3 board. You can see it on the right side approaching now, so you can see it there. Just on the brakes, halfway in between the 4 and the 3. And make sure you brake, yeah, you want to be earlier rather than later because you don't really want to run wide into this corner. You want to try and hold a very narrow apex. You can see the line there. Try and hold it narrow into the apex. I go a little bit deep here, have to rotate it a little bit there, down to second, then back up to third gear, and then onto the throttle as early as you can. You can actually be quite aggressive because it grips up, and then just use some of the curb on the outside there, and then swing it back over to the left-hand side. Now we're going to brake just before this grid on the left there, just after the number 2 board and just before the grid, onto the brakes. And now we're going to just rotate it in, staying in third gear. You want to get your right hand tyre as close to the sausage curb on the right as possible. You'll see it as we approach here, as we trail brake in and then get back on the throttle there, that sausage curb there. You want to be very close to that, as close as you can, and then carry the speed all the way out the exit using the curb again. Now into this tricky right hand corner again, using the number 1 board there. We're going to brake just before that number 1 board. Now it's better to be early on the brake because then you can start chucking it in and getting it rotated in, right hand tyre up onto the curb as close again to that sausage curb as you can get, and then onto the throttle as aggressively as you can using some of the curb on the exit. Now into the next left hand corner, we're going to again brake in between the number 3 and the number 2 board there. You can see it onto the brakes. And now you're going to try and turn this in using the curb at the end there. You can see right hand tyre right at the edge of the curb, and then you want to get this rotating in. You can see I slightly little bit too late onto the apex. You can see car in front using the Ghost, using the curb a lot more than I did there. Could have been a little bit more aggressive on the curb, and that kind of hinders my pace up this hill a little bit. So yeah, you want to get a little bit closer to that curb. Now into this left hand corner, using again the number 2 board as a reference for our braking, and you're going to really chuck this in. So you've got to really be aggressive here, trail brake slightly there, and now onto the throttle. Look how early we're onto that throttle. It's so important to do that because the earlier you get on the throttle, it'll actually help with a bit of rotation, and it'll also help carry so much speed up this hill. So all the way up the hill now into the next braking zone. You can see staying in 4th gear, not going into 5th. There's no point changing to 5th. Using the number 3 board, braking way before that though, almost in between the 4 and the 3 again, and keep the car to the right hand side, and then start, while you're trail braking this in and braking, loosening off the brake a little bit, you're going to start rotating this in and get your left hand tyre over the green bit of Astro, and then back onto the throttle as early as you can to stabilize the car, because you're again going to cut over this chicane using the left hand tyre onto the curb, right hand tyre onto the green Astro, and then stay on that power all the way down this hill. You're going to have to lift off though as we come down the hill now. You can see as we go down now, a tiny dab of the brakes. Now keep your eye on this brakes. We're hardly going to put any in at all. It's just a tiny amount to get a bit of rotation in there as we're coasting in, and then back onto the throttle before you get to that curb. Use as much of the track as you can on the outside there. Be careful not to use too much, and then swing it back over to the left and onto the brakes before the road splits off to the left there. So you can see way before the number 2 board, you can see onto the brakes, And now we're going to start rotating it into this fast right hand corner. So you can see trail braking in, around 50% braking again. And again, your right hand tyre needs to be as close to the curb as possible, and onto that throttle quite early. You can see again onto that throttle before we're even on the curb, and then accelerating using a bit of curb on the left there, all the way up to the number 3 board where we're going to hit that brake. You can see pretty much dead level just before the number 3 board, onto the brakes, and we're going to go down to second gear for a bit of rotation. So down to second gear, trail brake it in as we're rotating for this turning in phase, and then we're going to go back up to third gear for the actual acceleration. So you see back up to third gear, onto the power now, and again use some of the track on the outside there to keep the line as straight as possible all the way to the finishing line. Now I go over the line for a 1 minute 27.8, and you can see 22 miles is all I drove on that. I didn't spend too long. I found it quite easy to get used to, so could definitely push it more, but wanted to get this guide out as early as possible to help you lot out. So hopefully this will help you get them gold credits as quickly and as easy as possible. Again, we can watch the lap from the chase camera. Again, you can see getting on that throttle nice and early. Again, using the full width for the curbs for the entrance into the corners, and again exit of the curbs as well being used for the exits there. So again, this corner, it's so much about carrying the speed and using as much of track on the left as possible, and then into this next left hand corner. You're going to see here how I slightly missed that apex, and it actually hinders me a little bit, maybe losing me a 10th here, because you can see you need to just get up onto that curb a little bit more so you can power out a little bit earlier on the throttle. So maybe a slight fraction loss there, but managed to get this corner done quite nice. So you can see using all the curb, massive amount of track on the outside being used, and then into the corkscrew. Yeah, now you can see again braking as late as you can, keeping the car in a straight line there, and then really sending it over the corner. Just be careful of track limits through there, although I found that you could be quite aggressive on this one. I presume it's because the Group 4 car and front wheel drive, it's a little bit more stable over there, so you're probably not kicking the rear out as much. So I found I could be really aggressive through that section. And again, into that final corner, really concentrating on getting that exit speed. Second gear into third gear, and then smoothly putting them inputs for the straightening the car out to the finishing line. And hopefully you're going to smash that gold. Let me know in the comment section if you managed to get gold, silver, or whatever you managed to get, if it's helped you out. It's always lovely to read them messages. So yeah, I'll see you again for more videos in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone.